Hi, my name's Ryan. I was a program and research intern for the SISGI Group in summer 2011. I am currently attending the University of Michigan studying international relations. I'm from Chicago originally. I was in the military for 5 years. I was an Arabic linguist for the Marine Corps. While I was working for the SISGI Group, I focused on 3 areas of research, all of which pertain to the Middle East or to North Africa. The first one focused on conflicts in the region, and the second was the international community's involvement in the Middle East or North Africa, and then the third focused specifically on aid organizations, be it NGOs or intergovernmental organizations, but just aid organizations in general. And those are my 3 areas of focus. I think the best thing about being an intern for the SISGI Group for me was the exposure that I got to a bunch of different fields that I had never really worked with before. So for example, since I was in the military, I had a very specific approach to a lot of issues in the Middle East. And then also just being a student, an undergraduate student in international studies, you get another certain approach. And what I got from SISGI was a balance to a lot of that. So a lot of that came from my research on NGOs, on the non-governmental organizations, in that, really assessing whether or not they're making a difference, the ones that are making a difference, how are they making a difference, what could be changed to actually make a better impact, a more sustainable impact. And that the sustainable impact was another element that I think was probably one of the greatest things that I learned, was the importance of having not only an impact in the short run, but really developing programs. If you're an aid organization, that you want to have something which can last, which is actually something that's going to go beyond the time that you're actually in country. So, and all of that came from just the exposure, from doing the research, from having specific questions that I was asking, things that I was blogging about, and then needing to find answers to that. So it was a journey, and I'm definitely more informed on those sort of issues than I was before. Feedback is an incredibly important sort of central theme to being an intern at the SISGI Group. And I think most of that comes from the fact that, I didn't have any experience writing blogs before I became an intern here. And so adjusting to that style of writing can take some time. And you come to realize, or at least I did, that a blog is kind of like between an academic paper and what you would post on somebody's Facebook wall. And that's not an easy balance to strike at first, because you want what you say to be accessible, but you also want it to be informed, accurate. And so, especially for my first few posts that I wrote, Thanera would send it back and say, okay, well, I like some of these ideas, but this needs to change, this needs to change, this needs to change. So you really have to be open to critique. I don't think that, somebody who is very closed-minded in that, or somebody who's incredibly opinionated to the point where they can't take critique and change, adapt based off of that critique, I don't think that they would make a good intern. It's humbling, but it's a good process. It's something which I think it's an important skill to know how to write to a wider audience, as opposed to just writing an academic paper for a professor who already knows that subject. So feedback's important, but it can be annoying. My favorite example with that is I thought that I understood how to do these sort of papers, or how to do the blogs, I'm sorry, because I had written them for the entire summer. And then I did this trip. I went to East Africa for a couple weeks, and I came back from that, and I wrote this post about it. And I, at that point, I thought that I knew not only how to write a blog, but I knew kind of how, what Thanera's guidelines were for the blogs, what was good for the Not Enough Good site. After I wrote it, I was very confident, and Thanera came back to me and said, well, pretty much all of these things need to change. This is not really what we're looking for. And she didn't say it in that way, but she was right, and she had some very good points. And so even at the end of the internship, I was still learning from the feedback. But it's it's an important thing to be able to adapt to it. I don't think that there's any doubt for me that what I learned from my SISGI Group internship, that it will have a positive effect on what I end up doing with my life, with my future studies, with my future work. On one hand, it kind of reinforced my desire to work in the Middle East North Africa region, which is the region that I was researching while I was with the SISGI Group. And on the other hand, it changed some of the work that I want to do. I realized in researching a lot of these NGOs that sometimes, having an ideal is a good thing, and wanting to change the world or fix a problem is a good thing. But if you don't have a plan or a discipline to back up those ideals, then it doesn't really necessarily go that far. And so, that was a big influence. Now I want to continue on and do law school and do transnational law, and I'll be applying for that next year. But a lot of that idea, even though I think I had some sort of semblance of an idea before I did the internship, that was really reinforced by my research, by what I did in the SISGI Group. So my experiences there definitely shaped my future ambitions, and I wouldn't take it back for anything.